Hi, this is Marek from Tryb Solo. Today I want to tell you more about a game called Requiem, Downfall of Magic. This is a prototype that I got for a preview from Ludus Magnus Studio, and thanks Ludus Magnus for sending it. This game will be on crowdfunding in March. I will leave a link to the campaign in the description of the video. And Requiem, Downfall of Magic is a fantasy cooperative adventure game set in the 16th century. It's set in the same universe as Nova Aetas Renaissance and Black Rose Wars. In this game, you are members of the Order, like a secret organization that tracks cultists and rogue wizards dealing with black magic. There will be a campaign with, I think, 15 scenarios or so. This is a prototype. I have only one scenario here. In a second, I will show you how the game plays more or less. Just remember that this is a prototype and everything in the final version of the game may be different than in this edition that you see here. So let me show you how the game plays and then I will tell you my opinion on this prototype. This is Requiem Downfall of Magic, the prototype copy that I got for review. So please remember that this is a prototype. Everything you see here may be different and may change in the final edition. I'm sure some things will change, especially the components quality, even though they are quite cool. The cardboard will be thicker for sure and you will have more cards and more everything. Second thing is that the rules that I will explain to you in this video are the rules from the prototype copy. If you will watch this video in a year or 2 years from today, please don't write me in the comments that in the final rulebook something was different. I'm playing the game from the rules, the PDF rulebook that I got with this prototype. And third thing, this is the first, I would say, introductory scenario to this game. I'm sure that the following scenarios, there are 15 from which I remember, will be more complex, more advanced, maybe we'll have more components, more decks of cards, more everything. This is just the first scenario that introduces you to the game, to the mechanics, to everything. So also, please remember this. I cannot show you the other scenarios because the first scenario is the only one that is in the prototype copy. But this is what you see on the table when you set up the game. This is during the first scenario. This is not the beginning because I wanted to show you how the game looks like when you are a little further in the scenario. Each scenario starts with this scenario booklet. It tells you some introductory story, what's going on in the game, what is your quest and what is your goal. Here you are hunting or tracking cultists and you need to find track tokens, as many as you can. On the second page you have the layout of the game. This is the board. It's created from the tiles. In this prototype we only have tiles with wood. In the final version there are also town tiles. So in other scenarios you will have town or wood or mix of both of them. They all have numbers. This illustration tells you what tiles you have to reveal at the start of the scenario, where to place them and everything, what is your end game goal, when the game ends, some special rules, what exploration deck you will use and when you will draw from them, and what is your time limit. Here is 4 turns. So you have basically 4, not turns, maybe rounds, 4 rounds to find as many tracks as you can. When the game ends, you will go to a specific page depending on your result, and you will have one epilogue or other epilogue. It depends how well you have finished the scenario. So this is one booklet, a scenario booklet. The other booklet we have is the discovery booklet. They are dedicated to a specific scenario, and this one contains all the story, all the chapters that you will read when instructed from the discovery exploration cards or the chapter cards that you will reveal during the game. You will be instructed to go to a specific chapter and you will read this chapter. Sometimes you will get some rewards, sometimes when, depending on your choice, you may find enemies or items, or you will find things important in the important for the story. As I said before, here we have the tiles. These are the tiles with woods only in this prototype. On every side of the tile you have some illustration and artwork. The tile doesn't matter in this scenario, because what's more important is what you do on a tile, because you can explore a tile and reveal special tiles. So they are placed randomly, but probably in the following scenarios maybe something will happen when you reveal a specific tile. I'm not sure. So you have the tiles. When you will walk around the map, you will reveal those tiles. You have your character miniatures that look like this. You have some enemies that you will be able to fight. You have some tokens. Here is a market token. This is an exploration token placed by one of my characters. You can even have some cards like side quest, the lost sister. I have to find the sister for some person that I met during the game, and I can complete this quest when I do what's written on this card. But basically, when you start the scenario, only one tile, at least in the first scenario, only one tile is revealed, and you will reveal the remaining tiles while walking on them. We have different deck of cards, we have items, we have treasures, we have exploration decks. In this scenario, there are 2 exploration decks. You will take cards from one of them depending on the game. When you explore the tile for the first one, you will get cards from this deck. When you explore a tile for the second time, you will get cards from the second deck. This is a chapter deck where cards are numbered from 1 to 10. Sometimes the discovery book will tell you to reveal a specific card and something will happen. We have some companion cards, because you can get companions. Here are 2 dogs that will help you during the game. And the other very important thing is all the player boards. We have 4 characters in this game, and you always need 4 characters. These are the only characters that are available in the prototype. I'm not sure if in the final game you will have more characters or some new ones, or only just these 4. I'm not sure. Here we have 4, and we have to use all 4 of them when we play the game. So if you play solo, you need to use all 4 characters. In the first scenario, it's not a problem because they don't have that many abilities and skills and everything. I'm not sure how it will be in the final game. Let's say scenario number 10, when they will be leveled up, they will have a lot of abilities and action tokens and skills and everything. But for now, for the first scenario, managing 4 heroes is not really a big problem. Let's take a look at a hero board. Each hero has got a character card. On the back of the card is some description and some story. You can find out who the hero is and what is he doing in the game. And this is the main side, where you have some artwork, name of the hero, and different actions. Here are the actions that you can take. In order to perform different actions, you have to flip these action tokens to the used side. So by spending these tokens, you can perform those actions. Below are the basic actions. Some are passive, like this: get each equipment card with 1 additional cube. When you get equipment, each equipment card tells you what is the number of uses, how many times you can use this specific item, and Valerio can use each item one time more than other characters. Here is a specific, special basic action from the scenario, like spend 3 focus to perform Slink. This is an action. Basically, here are the actions that require spending tokens, and here are some actions that require either are passive or require, for example, spending focus. Here are level cards. We start at level 1. Here are more cards. They are double-sided. When you level up, you will reveal a specific card, and the level card tells you how much life you have. Here we have 4. What is my focus number? I have 3. As I said, I can spend focus, for example, to perform the special action from this hero. How many tokens, action tokens with star I have, and how many tokens with sun. There are also tokens with moon. So the level card tells me what type of tokens and how many of them I have. How many skill cards can I use? Right now I can use 0 skill cards. And how many equipment cards I can use on level 1. Here is space for keeping money that you gain in the game, and here is space for your medicine. You can spend it to recover health, or you have space for different potions in the game you will be able to acquire potions. There are a few types of potions. Some potions give you additional attack, additional damage, some give you defense. There are plenty of potions. Apart from this, each character has got exploration tokens in the color of the character that you will place on the board and mark which tiles are already explored. Each hero gains dice, and these dice are specific to the character. Each hero dice have different sides and different symbols on the sides. The black die is the attack die and the white one is defense die. If you roll this dice and you have a side with two different sections, you will choose one of the sections. Basically, you will roll dice during combat. Each character has also got a special deck of ability cards. They are dedicated for each character: Valerio, Melchior, Beatrice and Agnes. Let's take a look at some of the cards for Valerio. On the back you can see number 2+, 4+, 7+. This means this shows what is the level of my character. What level do I need to use this card? To use these two cards, for example, I need to be on level 2. Right now I'm on level 1, so I cannot use any of those cards. And those are special skill cards that I can add to my character, and they will allow me to do different things, different actions, different abilities. So each hero plays differently, mostly because I have different actions, different tokens, different basic actions, different abilities. I have different dice that I will roll in combat. So we have those four characters. How the game plays. In the game, in a round, the round starts with refreshing all the action tokens. If you have used the tokens in a previous round, you will refresh them. If you have used some abilities or equipment card that require tapping the card by 90 degrees, you will untap all the cards and they will be available for you to use them. Then there is this action phase, and during action phase all characters will be able to spend action tokens to perform action or focus to perform basic actions. There is no like turn order. Each character can move wherever the character wants. If you play with more than one player, like not solo but with 2, 3, 4 players, it's up to you to decide which character goes where, goes when, what is the order of action. It's up to you. This is really cool. It's not like you have to use the Melchior character and he's got to do all the actions, and then Beatrice and then Agnes. You can mix the characters when they are performing actions. And what actions can you perform in this game? Each player gets this help sheet, and this is really cool because you have all the main actions described here, and you have all the turn phases, enemy traits, different potions and medications, and all the icons. As I said before, this is the introductory scenario. It's not very complex, and mostly you will walk around the board, you will reveal different tiles, and you will try to explore those tiles in order to read specific sections in the discovery book and activate those chapter cards and find tracks, because this is the goal of this scenario, to find as many cultist tracks as you can. The basic action, first basic action is move. If you walk, or not move, it's called walking. When you walk, you spend the tokens, the action tokens shown on your hero card, and you can move to an adjacent tile. If you move to a tile that is not discovered already, you will reveal this tile and you will place it like this. That's it. Nothing happens. When you explore the tile, you may find enemies or clues or some story element, but going to a new tile and revealing it does nothing, at least in the first scenario. Maybe in other scenarios it will trigger some specific things, maybe a trap, maybe new enemies will appear. In the first scenario, you just walk to a new tile and you reveal it. The second action is running, and running works similar to walking. You can just walk 2 tiles away from your starting tile. Next action you can do is explore. If you are on a tile and this tile has got no exploration tokens, you will place your exploration token on a tile And depending what is the number of the exploration token, if there was none, you place the token with number 1, you take card from a specific exploration deck. And the chapter book shows you, if you explore for the first time, you will take card from this deck. If you explore for the second time, you take card from this deck. So we take the top card from this deck. And here we have enemy. We will place this enemy on the board. I will talk about enemies a little later. You will place the enemy on the board and you will have to fight this enemy. But you can also find some fate cards. Fate cards give you some description and require you to roll the fate die, and depending on the result you will gain something or lose something, it depends. Apart from these cards, we have some event cards, and event cards are important because they're usually connected with the story. For example, this card, you read this text here, and then it tells you to go to chapter 27 in the discovery book, and in case of this card, we will open the discovery book, find chapter 27 and read it. We read this text, then we have a choice. Depending on our choice, something will happen. So, if you want to explore a tile that was already explored, and this is your explore token on it, you will flip it to the side with 2. You will draw cards from the other deck, but in order to flip this token, you need to spend 2 explore actions. If you explore for the first time, you have to use 1 explore. If for the second, you need to spend the 2 explore actions. But if there is another player, another hero on the tile, and there is already an exploration token with number 1, but not from the active character, this character can use the explore action to remove this token and place, Beatrice will place her token on side 2, draw the card from the other deck, but this only costs 1 explore action. So basically it's good to explore with different characters and not with one and the same, because if the same character explores the tile for the second time, this character needs to spend 2 explore actions. So you have exploration. What are the other actions available in the game? You can slink. Slinking basically means moving away from a tile with an enemy without triggering the enemy attack, because enemies, like for example this guy with this rifle or this scary crow, will try to attack you if you try to run away from this tile. Slink action allows you to move away without triggering the attack. You can donate, and this means like you can trade with other character, give coins, cards and stuff like this. And you also can fight. Before fighting, I will tell maybe about recovering. If you lose all the health and your character is knocked out, you can exhaust 3 action tokens on your character board, and you can return to active state, gaining half of your health. And there is also combat. Combat is very important. When you will travel through the map and explore different tiles, you will find some enemies. This is an example of enemy card. This icon shows you which miniature you have to take. This shows you what is the health points of this enemy, what is the sneak attack, because some characters can attack enemies with a sneak attack, and this doesn't involve rolling dice, but you will just give this much damage to the enemy. This is the number of wounds you will get from the opportunity attack of an enemy. If you want to move away from a tile with an enemy, or you will end your round on tiles with enemies, these enemies will try to attack you. And here is the reward that you get for defeating this enemy. In this case, you will get 3 coins. There are some other enemies that are more advanced. This one has some statuses, for example, enraged, crazed and lethal. I don't want to go into too many details. On the help card you have all the enemy traits described, and they can have different abilities, like sometimes they will not allow you to move away from a tile with them, or they will deal more damage. Different statuses do different things. If you want to fight an enemy, you have to take enemy dice, and these are dice for the enemy, and you have to take your dice for the character who is fighting. And the dice are in 2 colors. We have white dice and we have black dice. You always compare black die with a black die and white die with a white die. For your character, the black die is the attack die, and for enemy, black die is the defense die, and for you, white die is your defense die, and this is attack die. So this is clever because you always compare dice with the same color. And command is very simple. After you roll the die, you have to compare shields and swords. Here, the enemy wants to attack you. He's got one sword, and on your die you have either one shield and two focus icons, or two shield and one focus. You have to choose one of these results. Let's say we choose the bottom one shield and two focus icons. These icons with focus mean that I will regain the focus on my character board. But if the enemy has got more swords than I, he will deal 1 damage to me. If the number of swords and shields is equal, or if I have more shields, the enemy doesn't deal damage to me. And the same in the opposite way. I have to count the number of swords I have, compare it to the number of shields on the enemy die. If I have more swords than the shields of the enemy, I can deal damage to the enemy. This is basically it, and this is how a fight works. If you want to attack an enemy again, you have to use the second fight action. Sometimes you will have different abilities that allow you to reroll or deal additional damage, or you will have some equipment that will help you in combat. But basically you roll your dice and enemy dice and you compare the results. If you manage to defeat enemy, you will get the rewards here. If not, then you will place damage token on the enemy card. And this opportunity attack works like your sneak attack. If you, for example, want to move away from the enemy, he will roll the destiny die. If he's got the required symbols on this die, this enemy will deal you the damage shown here without rolling any defense die. Just like when you attack an enemy with a sneak attack, the enemy doesn't roll defense and you just deal that many damage as your sneak attack. So this is how the fight works. After you use all your action tokens, focus and everything, and you don't want to do anything else, you go to the end of turn phase. At the end of the turn, each enemy on the tile with heroes will try to do the opportunity attack. Some cards may have end of the turn effects that will trigger, and in the scenario here, for example, you have to remove 1 time token at the end of the round, because in the scenario we only have 4 rounds to find all the clues. And this is basically how you play. You will get different cards, different equipment, different ability cards. You will level up your characters. You will move around the board. You will reveal tiles, fight with enemies. You will explore. Of course, you will try to survive and you will try to finish the scenario. Even for a prototype and for the first scenario, there is a lot of things to do. But I can only imagine that the next scenarios in the campaign will be more advanced, more interesting. They will have more twists and more choices in the story. But this is basically how you play Requiem. Let me tell you what I think about this game. Now, as you know how the game plays, I will tell you about my pros and cons. Remember, this is a prototype and this is a preview. I have not seen the final game, so my pros and cons may change when I get the final product in the future. But for now, what I like about this game, very interesting dark fantasy story and then setting. The game takes place in Nova Aetas Renaissance and Black Rose Wars universe. This is like an alternative history timeline. Action takes place in 16th century. We don't have any dwarves, elves and stuff like this. We have magic, cultists and dark, gloomy times. This is cool, I like it a lot. I like that this game is very accessible and the rules are like streamlined. I know that this is the idea that was behind this game. Ludus Magnus included a small brief in the with this prototype where they told what was the idea for this game, and the idea was that this is like an adventure game where you don't need 5 hours to play it, and you don't need to study 100 pages long rulebook. You can just sit, play, and enjoy the game, enjoy the story, and I think that they achieved it. The rules are not complex or easy to remember. You get this player help sheet that summarizes all the rules, really cool. For example, combat is, I like combat in this game. Is on one hand, it's very easy. You roll your die and enemy die, you compare the results, but it's still fun. You have some choices. You can adjust the results by performing different actions, and if you have abilities, you can modify the results. So this is again an example of streamlining, because the combat is easy, doesn't take a lot of time to fight enemies, but you still have fun from it. I like that the characters play different. We have 4 of them in this prototype. I'm not sure how many will be in the final game, maybe the 4 or maybe more, but the 4 that are included here all feel different. Different types, different skill, different actions. It's not like they have only different image and life points. Each character feels a little different, and the more ability cards you get, the more equipment cards you get, they will feel like a really separate heroes. This is nice. The scenarios feel like they are replayable. I've played only the first scenario, but I had some choices in the discovery book, and depending on my choice, the story went one way or another. I cheated a little and I looked in the discovery book to see what will happen if I make another choice, and the outcome would be completely different. I will gain different cards. Sometimes I will see an enemy, or I will not get an enemy card. So I think that you can easily replay the scenarios, and you will have different stories in a way. The main goal will be probably the same, but the exploration decks are shuffled, the tiles are also randomly placed. You will have more tiles in the final game. We'll have town tiles and not only wood tiles. So I think that you can easily replay the campaign and the scenarios. This is the prototype copy, but I love the artwork, I love the components, the miniatures, the illustration, the artwork on the characters, on cards, on tiles. This already looks fantastic, and this is just a prototype, so I can only imagine how good will the final version look like. This is not a surprise for me, because games from Ludus Magnus, they usually look great, but considering that this is just a prototype copy, it looks amazing. And the last pro, if you are a fan of Aetas, Renaissance and Black Rose Wars, this is set in the same universe. So if you know the universe from those games and you know the story and characters, you will definitely find a lot of like Easter eggs and references to those games, and you will have a lot of fun finding maybe some characters that you know from Black Rose Wars or Aetas inside Requiem. My cons, also based on the prototype, I'm not really a fan of games where you have to play with, for example, 4 characters, even if you play solo. I like games where you scale the number of heroes depending on the player count. Here you have to use all 4 of them, no matter what is the player count. In the first scenario, it was easy to play with 4 characters, even in solo, because they didn't have a lot of abilities and action tokens. But I can imagine that during the campaign, where your characters will have a lot of cards, items and abilities, and a lot of tokens and potions and everything, it will be more difficult to handle 4 characters. It's not a big problem, but if you don't like to manage 4 different characters, you may not find this game for you. It's not a problem if you play with 4 people, because with 4 people everyone plays 1 character. For me, it's not a problem. I plan to play this game when it comes out in the future with 4 characters, and it's cool. But I'm just saying you that you have to play with 4. And the second thing is, this is a prototype. I only have 1 scenario, but the first scenario is quite simple. You only have to walk around the map, reveal tiles, explore, and you will either get a card that will push the story further, or you will get an enemy and fight. That's it. No twists, no surprises on the tiles and anything. So I get it. This is just the first introductory scenario, and the goal probably of this scenario in the final game as well will be to introduce players to the story, to the mechanics, to the combat, to exploration, and each scenario will add some additional things and twists and more fun things to do. But in the first scenario, it's quite simple. It's not a big con. I'm just telling you that I didn't find any, jaw-dropping things in the first scenario in terms of mechanics and gameplay, but I still had a lot of fun. To wrap it up, this game is a cool promise of a great adventure game, in my opinion. And for me, this feels a little like Journeys in Middle Earth or Destinies, a little lighter adventure games where you didn't have very complex mechanics. This is definitely not Explore It, where you have 100 pages long rulebook with a lot of rules to remember. This is more adventure game where you don't focus that much on the complex rules, but you focus on the story and on having fun. The big pro of this game is that you don't need an app. You don't have an app where you have to use your tablet or phone to read through the story. Everything is on cards in the storybooks, so this is very cool. I like the game, I like the settings, I like the mechanics. It's interesting. To be honest, I cannot wait to see the remaining scenarios in the final game. And by playing this prototype, I'm very interested in the story. It plays really well and it looks great. So you have to decide if you like fantasy game with this dark cultist, dark magic setting. If you do, you should definitely check out Requiem Downfall of Magic on crowdfunding. I will leave a link in the description of this video. Click the like button if you like the video. Subscribe to my channel as well. I will be very happy if you do. You can visit me on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.